Hello and welcome back to the Elite Transformation Podcast. I hope you are all well. Today we are answering a round of questions.
Yeah, a range
of questions from our viewers that have sent some questions in, so thank you very much. And we thought we would answer them, hopefully provide insight and some wisdom nuggets for anybody else that may have similar question. Keep them coming.
Why do I always start a diet and then fall off the wagon?
Sometimes there's a range of things. So I would say sometimes we hit a diet too hard and we reduce everything. So I think that from a coaching mindset, sometimes we have like the Monday morning refresh that ends up being like, I'm going to throw everything bad away in the cupboard on a Monday morning and basically have no fun on a diet. And then obviously we get to a point where that becomes a very, very boring option. And then we fall off the wagon. And essentially, depending on what wagon means to Ella, it's, is it that you've stopped eating lettuce and vegetables forever? So again, what we do at Elite Transformations is we talk about lifestyle and we talk about not cutting anything out. So we never cut anything out. We give people plenty of options and ourselves. There's nothing that we don't eat. We just have everything in moderation, and we talk a lot about the 80-20 rule. So Ella, I would look at how hard are you going in at a diet, and how much fun are you removing from your diet when you fall off the wagon? That would be my question to you.
I've got no energy. Where do I even start?
1% steps. I think that's so important. I think as well, when we're looking at making changes and stuff that we want to do for longevity, for lifestyle, it's what's my 1% of something, rather than going in at 100% and then burning out, or actually finding that this is not a significant thing to be able to sustain when you've got children and kids and dogs and work and blah, 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 all of that kind of stuff. I think it's really looking at what's my 1% that I can consistently do. And in order to do that, we have to dial back and be really realistic with what our goals are, because we can always add into something. The problem is when we go too hard too soon, again, with the first question, when we go too hard too soon, we burn out because it's not sustainable.
I'm too embarrassed to go to the gym. What should I do?
That makes my heart sad.
Yeah, that is sad.
Okay. Remember that no one is looking at you. You're judging yourself more than any other person in that room is judging you. So compassion lens for self is super important. And also remember that everyone else, or generally everyone, feels insecure and worried at the gym. So just rock it and go in there really gently. Go in as well and like build up. If you're too embarrassed to go into the gym, I would look at doing something that you're confident, maybe going for a walk on the treadmill and then building that up and getting your confidence around. Gyms as well, like, again, it's about community, isn't it? Getting your confidence and going anywhere new is scary, I think. But yeah, the word embarrassed, like, that makes my heart hurt. So yeah, I would incrementally introduce going in and doing something in the gym and taking your time and building your confidence up. But yeah, I promise everyone else is really worried about like whether their leggings are sweat proof and whether you can see their camel toe. So it's all right. We're all in the same boat.
How do I find time to exercise when life is already so full?
Life is really full. I think it's about understanding the significance of exercise. Life is and can be full, but what is the benefit of exercising? And I think it's around gently looking at, are there ways that I can add exercise into my lifestyle without it being these massive changes? So is that doing squats when I boil the kettle, or is it, running up and down the stairs more than I need to? It doesn't even necessarily have to be in the gym. Like, if you've got stairs, cool. Can you do a few lengths of the stairs? And adding in incrementally fitness within your lifestyle, being outside more if you can, being active in general, parking further away in terms of when you go and pick up your shopping. Like it's all of those things that you can layer on top that add in, that make it become healthy habit stacking, rather than it being this sort of, I need to go to the gym and I have to be this committed to it, because life is really busy. But also I think from our learning and understanding is that life is really busy, and then sometimes we get injured because of X, Y, and Z, or we need a new body part or something like that, and then you realize actually fundamentally me having mobility and being able to move is super important. So health is wealth, really.
Ooh, what's the difference between motivation and discipline? How do I build them?
Okay, so the difference between motivation and discipline. We're generally motivated when we see a result. So something motivates us. It can be an external or an internal result that we've seen. So whether we look different, our clothes fit differently, we feel better about ourselves, is either an internal or an external motivation. The discipline is what we at Elite Transformation call the unglamorous grind, which is when you don't have the motivation to do something, your discipline is, I'm still going to do this because I know this is good for me. And sometimes we have to rely on the discipline of, this is what I do, regardless of the outcome, rather than motivation, which is just like, oh, I'm all spurred on and it's exciting. Discipline's like, when that's not there, which is the difference between the discipline is doing the same thing over and over and again, the same as consistency, and knowing at some point that you're going to get the result that you want, but not necessarily seeing that in the now. So it's the same point, like related to mobility. You want to be consistent or disciplined with your mobility so that in the future your body is still able to move as well as it can possibly be. The motivation when you've had a new body part is you're motivated because you want to get that back to how it was. But the discipline of doing that long term means that hopefully you'll prevent injury.
How do I stop comparing my progress to other people?
There's lots of quotes around, you can't compare, don't compare, it doesn't stand anyone in good stead to compare your day one to someone else's, like chapter 15 of their story. So I think that that's a really significant way, is not like, you have to be focused and internally understanding of what your journey is and your fitness journey, I think, because otherwise you can compare your day one of fitness journey to someone else's, like chapter 15 2 years down the line, whatever the comparison is. And unless you actually stand there and have a conversation with someone and be like, how long have you been doing this for, to gauge the reference, you're going to be looking at somebody and be like, I can't do that. But they may have been doing that for 4 or 5 years. It may have been something that they've always done, and you're comparing yourself. So in that sense, you're always going to end up feeling shit about yourself because you're comparing yourself to somebody that's done it for a longer period of time. But and also you have no reference point. You just look at somebody and think they're amazing. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's also not viewed through the lens of compassion for self. You're comparing yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. Full stop.